welcome again to the chat. As you know, I love to talk to people from all across the racing community here in Australia. But one thing I haven't done much of is talk to too many people that have trained a Darwin Cup winner. And when I'm recording my podcasts, you guys may see sometimes that I have a big coffee cup in front of me and I take sips in between questions out of it. What I don't actually show you on the front is that, and that's Bruggemann Park. And joining me today is the face-off and the trainer behind Bruggemann Park in Nicole Bruggemann. Hi, Nikki. How are you today?
I'm good, Ben. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Just seeing over your shoulder there, that was a huge day a couple of weeks ago when you won the Darwin Cup. I'm sure it was a dream come true. It took you about 7 attempts to do it, but you definitely did it.
Yeah, I haven't had too many runners in the Darwin Cup itself, but it's definitely taken us a few years to get used to the style of training up there. So, yeah, we were very happy this year.
And tell me, how did you end up with Highly Decorated, the horse that won the Darwin Cup? It's won 7 in a row now.
He was a little horse owned by Donna Stevenson, my owner from Kangaroo Island, and he was with another trainer. She has quite a few horses with other trainers, and they thought that he might like a bit of a change of scenery and have a go on the dirt. So they had taken him to Broken Hill and he'd run a third at Broken Hill, so they knew he didn't hate the dirt. But yeah, he arrived up there in Darwin. And
also awesome achievement to see young Jessie ride it for you in the Cup as well. She's now ridden a winner in practically every state and territory of Australia.
Yeah, and she's a great kid. We have a lot of fun. She stays with us when she comes up to Darwin. So,
and they tell me they call you the Queen of KI because you've had some success over at Kangaroo Island. Could you see yourself being the Queen of NT racing in the future?
Well, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? I'd probably have to win a few more cups to get that accolade. But, yeah, there's a few good female trainers up there, so I've got maybe a couple to knock off the post.
And tell me, you're looking to, or you definitely has been confirmed now, you are going to be moving up to Northern Territory and you're going to be training out of there in Darwin or in Alice Springs?
Definitely in Darwin. We've got 6 boxes on course. The plan is to hopefully make that a few more before Carnival next year, but we've got 5 here in work since we've been back to Adelaide, and they're getting ready to go up in about a month. And we left a couple up there. So,
and will you continue on your Bruggemann Park operation as well in South Australia, in country South Australia, about an hour out of Adelaide, where I've been privileged enough to visit?
Yeah, well, as you've seen, we've got a magnificent property here. Not something that we give up. We've got 100 acres here and all the facilities to train and pre-train horses and breed a couple. So we'll definitely keep this going. Pre-trainers and those horses that don't like Darwin, there's always going to be a few.
And will your able Lieutenant Sheldon Collins still be involved helping out but staying in South Australia?
Yeah, absolutely. Sheldon's doing his foreman's licence so that we can make it official. I don't have to be here all the time. He's working his way through that Cert 4 at the moment.
And you also have a bit of an equestrian background as well, and in particular your daughter, Jamie Lee, who has had quite a lot of success at very high levels. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so I did a bit of everything growing up as a child, a bit of novelties and eventing, a very small amount of hacking. But Jamie, from a young age, has really succeeded in the hacking. She's been to most of the royal shows in the country, including Darwin, quite a few years in a row. And, she's had a good fair share of success. She's left home, so to speak, but still works for me in the mornings. So.
And she's also been very successful away from the riding aspect of it with Fashions on the Field. And she also has her own marketing business too, I believe.
Yeah, she has started her own market, Frankie & Co. And her passion is the Fashions on the Field. So she came up to Darwin, had a bit of success up there. And I think our next big venture is we're going to go to Roxby Downs.
And what an achievement, Fashions on the Field. I remember you guys coming over and I sort of escorted you guys around a little bit and looked after you. Jamie represented South Australia and she was the youngest. I don't think she was even 8. She just turned 18 maybe when she did that in the national final.
Yeah, she turned 18 in June and won the final at Murray Bridge that year. So she was just 18, a week on her own in Melbourne. So we did thank you very much for looking after her that week.
But what an amazing experience for someone so young, and she really handled it with aplomb too. She was just so calm about it, and she looked like she was thoroughly enjoying herself when she was doing it.
Oh, how could you not? What an experience! Yeah. To be able to such a young age.
So you've got a bit of a reputation with tried horses and being able to place them in races despite having a small team, and you've got a good strike rate. What do you think it is that helps you to always be able to place them in the right races, Nikki?
The availability of the races always helps. Obviously, we're struggling a little bit with not being able to go into Victoria as easily as we normally can. But yeah, look, I think the property helps. You know, we've got most of the horses are trained out of paddocks. We have our own track here, so we don't, those horses that have been a bit stressy and old school and been to the track every day of their life, they probably think they're half on a spell when they come out here. We've got super team. Obviously, Dave does 90% of our shoeing when he's here. He's an exceptional farrier. Our backup farrier, Adam, for when we're not here, you know, he's also exceptional. So we have a great deal of faith in our team. We've got a great chiropractor. I do a lot of their muscle work and that myself. And, you know, I think we just freshen them up a bit. We give them a new lease on life. We've got a great vet. We run a lot of x-rays. We sort of don't believe in running any horse with an issue. And if it's got an issue, we tend to it pretty quickly.
So if owners are looking to give you a horse, maybe they might be not up to city class anywhere in Australia, would you recommend that they send them to you because it's a change of scenery for them? Like it's probably a bit more relaxed on the farm in South Australia or even up in the Northern Territory. Like it's probably a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, look, and 100%, you know, obviously since the Darwin Cup, I've had a fair bit of publicity and we've had inquiries about people sending us horses. And Darwin's not for every horse, but we've sort of worked out now the type of horse that needs to go up physically and mentally. So we can get them here to Monado first up. We can sort of assess them, run some x-rays and, look, if they look like they're the type of horse that's going to go to Darwin, they'll certainly get a shot at going.
And you mentioned physio before. I believe you and David also do quite a bit of work as practitioners with the physio key. For those that don't know much about the physio key, could you tell us a bit about that?
Okay, really basically it's a neurostimulator. So what it does is it stimulates the body to heal itself through signals that it sends to the brain and the return response from the brain. So, look, we don't do as much of it nowadays as we used to because we're sort of busy with our own horses, but we've got 30-odd trained practitioners Australia-wide and we set up, you know, a fairly extensive Facebook page where people can ask questions. I still look at the odd horse that's got some problems. But, yeah, basically I'm doing my own and, a few special people I will help them out with their horses.
And generally, what's the uptake been like with the physio key? And I ask that because, you know, racing are sort of set in their own ways a lot and they don't always want to embrace something that's new.
Yeah. Look, slowish through the racing community, but not terrible. You know, I've got a few practitioners down at Morphettville. I've got a couple that work in Victoria. It is mainly, I would say, probably more than 75% equestrian community, show jumpers, eventers, dressage riders. But in saying that, you know, the racing fraternity is sort of getting more open-minded to try new things.
Yep. And you keep talking about the equestrian community, and we spoke about your daughter's involvement in it as well. I think it's been great probably the last 18 months or so. A lot of the states, particularly here in Victoria, they'll be making a proactive effort to promote just what kind of things horses can do away from the track when they're not racing anymore, and they can become showies, they can become hacks, pleasure horses, equine therapy horses. There's just so many uses for horses once they've finished retire and they're retired from racing, isn't there?
Yeah, look, the Off the Track series has been fantastic Australia-wide. And I think a lot of trainers are nowadays also seeing the benefits of when their horses are being pre-trained or between races, that they go and get some groundwork. I mean, I know Will Clarken's been promoted fairly heavily in South Australia. I know Francesca Christie, who's a great friend of mine, is doing a lot now in Victoria. And I think it's great that trainers not only see the benefit for the horse being able to be controlled and being able to race better, physically better, mentally better. But when they finish racing, these horses are going to have a much bigger chance of a career than something that hasn't had that groundwork.
And I know too, even Kieran Maher, one of the things he does as part of the spelling process when he sends them to his spelling farm at Pakenham, he always makes sure all of them that are spelling is he makes them do some dressage. Like it's, you know, that's that kind of thing too.
Yeah, look, and it's great for them, it teaches them flexibility and, if they get a bump in a race or they have to get suddenly pulled off heels or, they just have to change legs quickly. If they're physically and mentally able to do that, it's got to, you might lose a race by a nose because the horse is hanging in, hanging out, didn't steer that well or got a bump and couldn't recover from it. If these horses are well balanced, physically and mentally, it's got to be better for them.
And just moving along a bit, I know that you're moving to the NT, but it looks like Racing SA with new management and new philosophies, it looks like they're really trying hard to get racing back to what it was in the top couple of states in Australia, probably 10, 15 years ago. And there's been significant prize money increases too, hasn't there? They're trying.
I think the thing that really lacks Australia at the moment, and it's an unfortunate thing, I'm not sure that it can be fixed in any great hurry, is the lack of the actual country races.
Yeah.
If you haven't got a horse that's good enough to win provincial level, you really struggle in South Australia to find anywhere to go, which, as I said, we miss being able to go over the border. I mean, coming up shortly, we would have Manangatang, Witchy Proof, the good country, non-TAB Victorian meetings. So, you got to think, look, I ran 3 the other day at Gawler. They weren't terrible. They all ran 6. They were beaten less than 4 lengths, but they're not in the money. Now, the next step for them is probably to go to Roxby Downs, but that's in 3 weeks, and the owners still have to pay up. And it's just, there's a shortage of good country races in South Australia, I think.
You talk about coming over the border, like you turn the TV on here in Victoria on racing.com, and aside from the 2 metropolitan meetings or sometimes 3 each week, there are plenty of opportunities to be able to place your horses and run them.
Oh, and absolutely. And I mean, and I don't mean to say they're that bad, because I know a lot of the big trainers even use places, the picnics like Stony Creek and places like that.
Yep.
We lack that ability in South Australia. I'm not sure that we're not big enough. I just think we've probably lost a lot of tracks over the years and, they're going to be impossible to get back.
And just a bit of a light-hearted one, Nikki. What do you like to do away from racing? And I think it may involve some espresso martinis, I know from experience. Is that correct?
I was going to say, is drinking a hobby? Outside of racing, unfortunately for my weight, I do really enjoy a great dinner and a drink and a night out with friends. I probably need to do less socialising and more staying at home, and I might drop the 20 kilos I need to drop. But no, we have a great social life. As you know, you've come out for dinner in Adelaide with us and met a few of our, we're a big fun bunch. And actually when we got home, Jamie and Sheldon organised a surprise party for Dave and I at the local pub. They were capped at 30 people, which Jamie said was very difficult to do. She couldn't actually believe how many people wanted to come and that she wanted to invite. And it was great. And I was 110% surprised. I had no idea. Nobody lips. So congrats to all of them for, properly surprising me.
Well, I think that's also probably an example too of it's all well and good to be a big stable and to have plenty of support, but I find even in my experiences in my work in the industry and even outside of my work just being in the industry, that the more approachable and down to earth are those smaller trainers, those ones from the country. They know, they really know how tough it is. They don't get everything given to them by big high profile owners.
Yeah, no, we're a small group of owners. We do, we don't muck people around. I had a horse, literally just last week, I had a horse sent to me. They wanted me to assess. It was here 2 days and I said to them, you're going to be wasting your money. The horse won't race, just some physical issues that couldn't be fixed. They were really appreciative of that. As they said, maybe some other trainers would have taken 6 weeks to come to the same assessment. And that's a lot of money down the drain for some people.
All right, Nikki, thanks very much for joining me today. And it's definitely on my list to come up to the Northern Territory. I know I'm always welcome to come and look after you guys. You guys will look after me.
Absolutely, 100% we will.
Thank you.